Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. This is the long-awaited Shermisode. We have Sergeant Nate joining us.
This has everything you probably want.
Exactly. I mean, this is the entire lineup from the guy who knows American armor, as good as anybody. And it's going to be exciting to take a little look at this revamped lineup that really is nice and cohesive together. So I know you've got a lot to get to. Where do you want to start?
I guess start where it all began, the patent Sherman. So June 2021, we kind of had to deal with patent Sherman. Dan was like, hey, just slightly update the old Cody Sherman, just make sure we use cheaper parts. I'm like, okay. And what I did is I literally just made the Cody Sherman, but shorter a brick because it matched up with the blueprints better. That's really all there is to it. I actually put a little opening hatch door in the back, so you can put pretend there's an engine in there. So contrary to popular belief that Brickmania did, Patton did not have a personal M4 Sherman, but you get a cool minifig with this, you get some cool tiles, and a dog.
And representative of the 3rd Armored Division, which is awesome.
Yes, 3rd Armored, yes. The 3rd Armored was definitely very, very helpful in Europe. But yeah, I think out of all the designs I make, this is probably the one I realize now that I could do better. This was a stepping stone that I needed, absolutely. And
it's part of the deal.
And it was my first kit. I can't say no to that. Yeah, it has some printing, has all the 3rd Armor printing, these 2x3 tiles with the stars, I thought that they looked nice. Threw in a couple bed rolls, and I had the star and turret hatch, or I guess ammo get rid of hatch printed on the side. Thought it was a nice touch. But yeah, overall, for my first model, pretty simple and not expensive as I would have wanted it, but...
So then starting with the second one, is that when you got a little bit more of a chance to go ground up?
Also, I should note on all my builds going forward after this, a lot of them have like the classic stud down way of doing that. Every build onward, stud up.
Okay, interesting.
Make things simple, makes things simpler and easier to add interior. Also, considering this is 3rd Armored and Patton, I have the big red one surrounding it. And now we go over to the M4A1 Sherman. It was a while since Brickmania last had one of these. And, ooh, man, this is definitely what I consider my first actual kit. I'm very proud of how this came around. And this is a tank that is just very, very, very hard to make in Lego because it's cast armor. It's a round tank.
Right, exactly, very bulbous.
But this is definitely what really started the whole Sherman lineup that I had, because this is the first tank I made to actually have an interior.
Cool.
And pretty much the interiors for all my tanks are the same. Very simple. You can put 1, maybe 2 guys in there. Not the most detailed or accurate interior, but hey, it's an interior.
You can add some of your own greebles.
Yeah, absolutely. You can add a little flair. You can add, I don't know, a Korean War era pinup if you wanted. But that's from another kit. But yeah, I think the thing I'm proud of most is just the angling of the roundness of the chassis, because this, like how it's breaking up, it's like they're half plate raises and lowers. Like you can see how subtle that is on the back. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it's not those hard steps.
Yeah. Yeah, I also had some customization options for you, but the one I brought was literally the boomerang. So there's 2 boomerangs here. My bad. Buy the kit and find out. And like I said, for the patent Sherman, I wasn't able to put a printed engine tile in here. This one, I did, and that gave Slam a bit of a doozy.
He's like a control panel engine. What?
Yep. So, yeah, so in terms of like design, that's really all there is to it. Well, for printing this, the engine, of course, the same as the patent Sherman for the turret and the stars and the little hatch, the gears. Very straightforward on this one, because this was sort of just like the next basic Sherman, and I'm still very proud of how this one came out. This one looks great.
Awesome.
All right.
The evolution continues.
So this, now for this one.
Black Panthers?
Black Panther. Cool Studs Inc. This is a either this or the EZA. This might be my favorite kit because this is the one I've had a lot of personal history with. Because I've known about this, I said this before, but I've known about this tank since 2019 when I found it on a Google search randomly. So I originally made a prototype of it. Well, not as a personal build back in like 2019.
Your own mock, right?
Right, and I don't have it with me, but you can check out my Instagram go through the archives, you'll find it. And actually, and then I made another prototype in 2019 to simulate what the kit would be like. So this is the prototype. This is the final product.
Okay.
Camo scheme is more or less the same, but I did actually have some camo printed on the kit.
And obviously that awesome barrel.
Oh yeah, that barrel's great. One moment, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I think out of all my tanks, this probably has the most printing on it because of all the customization. You got Julia, Smitty Smith, Doris, Jilja. I still don't know what that means after all this time. Little serial number in the back. And
Well, and the camo scheme just in general is
yeah, like a lot of
it's
tanks.
so badass.
Yeah, a lot of tanks in World War II on the American side typically didn't receive camouflage patterns. I think some of the tanks under Patton were like the exception. And the reason I'm dismantling this tank right now is because this has an interior as well.
Nice. Yeah, I can see some levers working in there already.
Oh yeah. I'll just
Nice.
take the whole
You
thing
see how
off because this
sectionalized
actually,
it comes
yeah,
apart?
because this
Like,
one
I love
actually
that.
has an engine as well, as well as the opening hatches. That I will.
Well, and it's just cool to see the sub builds of how it all comes together like that because you don't have to crush your hull in order to access the interior. That's awesome. It's kind of like when we see some of the larger aircraft builds and we're able to just pop a section of the fuselage off the top and check out the interior. That's some excellent design work right there.
Oh yeah, no, Brennan has made some absolutely great planes, and I have the McCain plane. I still have that one. Yeah. But yeah, no, like the back does open up. Some of the parts are a little fragile in the back, so be a little cautious when you open it. You also get some printing on the front, gears as per normal. And also, I should mention, this crew pack does not come with the kit, but we did make a crew pack to go along with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And for this one, you kind of need I think for this tank specifically, you need a whole posse driving it.
And that was one of the early debuts of that awesome World War II tanker helmet. That
Oh
really
yeah,
takes it to the
this
next
was
level.
no wait, the Stuart was the first.
The Stuart was,
no,
right.
the Stuart was the first one to have it. This is the crew pack was like the one time you could sort of get it on bulk, loosely saying.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so definitely. I don't know if it's my personal favorite kit in terms of like my favorite tank, but in terms of the kits that I have most history with, this is one of the main four. The kits that I have like the most history with, Patton, M4A1, the gun truck, and this guy.
Well, and you could make an argument too that if you're going to pick up like the premium Sherman in this lineup, crew pack included,
This one.
that's it.
Honestly,
right.
this would be the choice, but it's out of stock, so too bad. You'll have the Easy 8 to accompany
It'll
you.
be back.
Yeah, and I also kind of brought out a lot of personal minifigs for this one. I got like first infantry around the Patton, just some of the generic guys around this one.
Gives people ideas.
Yeah, like you wanna see what a bunch of minifigs looks like next to a Brickmania tank. Here you go.
It looks awesome.
But unfortunately, I didn't have any Israeli minifigs. So here's this. This is the M50I Sherman. This is a very unique Sherman because this is based off of the M4A4 chassis, or I guess you could say the Katia Firefly chassis, which I took heavy inspiration with because that I kind of helped design that a bit before I got the job. The design is Katia's, but I helped refine her design because we're friends. Her design and a great one, so which is why I applied it to my M4A4. But this is a unique one because the M4A4 in World War II never received Easy 8 suspension. Only the Israelis did that.
Interesting.
We also got a cool tanker with a U.S. Cold War helmet for 3D printing. Not related to the design, but I wanted to show that off a little bit. Also, this tank is the reason we were finally able to get tan brick arms barrels. You're welcome.
Yeah, you were excited when that happened.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming too. I mean, that's fair.
3 years. But yeah, so basically there's a couple sticker options for like call signs on the turret and as well as this air strap on the top, but everything else is completely printed. A tan Sherman gear, see, applicable. The A3 on the turret. By the way, this tank is actually based off of the M50 based out on Tank Farm that we're friends with. So.
Oh yeah, right.
So I wanted to make sure I got that right.
That's some solid source material, right?
Yeah, we got some printing on the barrel, or a little call sign. We got this cool little, this is technically printed upside down, the little call sign right here. Printed on some of the side boxes. Got some greeble printing all over. for the crates, these little things.
Some nice detail.
Yeah, a lot of the Israeli tanks had greebles. Typically they have more on the front side of that, but how I designed this, so I kind of chose for a more back solution. There's also another printed element on the back. Also this has an interior. Because of course, this one actually has a full-blown engine.
Nice.
Not sure if it actually had a radiator or not, but I mean, considering the Israelis were kind of taking whatever they could get in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, right. Exactly. Definitely a fully complete design. Put this back on.
And nice to see a little tan in the lineup.
Yep, this is a little variety. This is a little loose. I apologize. I thought I fixed that. I did not. All right, so this is definitely a fun design that I made, but I will say it's kind of my least favorite out of the main 5 because, well, it's not World War II. So
yeah, sure, I can understand that.
But definitely one I was happy to make.
Well, and a cool example of how far beyond World War II the Sherman stayed relevant.
Oh yeah, no, the Sherman was even out of U.S. service. It was still used until like the mid 70s across the world. Like I know the Israelis still had them for a while. I think Colombia had one going for quite some time. Mm-hmm. No, wait, not Colombia. Chile, sorry. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend looking up Cold War Shermans because that is a weird rabbit hole.
I bet.
All right, and Cold War Shermans, speaking of.
Yeah, Korea.
You knew I was going to make this Easy 8. Fun fact, I actually designed this same time as that one last year because the funny thing about that was I realized, because I've been making like custom Legos ever since I started working at Brickmania. Well, longer than that, but Brickmania really got me in the kick. And I always end up just doing like camouflages and whatnot. I never really tried making my own designs. And I was a designer here. And I was trying to figure, oh man, what am I going to do for this Sherman? How am I going to modify someone else's that's on my design? And my brain's like, hey, you can just make your own, I'm like, I could have done that this whole time? Okay.
Cool.
And that's how the Easy 8 started. Print blueprints, and they're all scale accurate, mind you. I just don't have a set of blueprints on me.
Yeah, and I know getting the size correct was definitely something that you wanted to capture.
Oh yeah, I know. I was also kind of debating whether or not I should put Lego wide track links on it, but which might be more accurate visually because how those look. But in terms of length and how they are to a tank, they would have been like a little too long,
yeah, sure.
A little awkward. So I opted not for that. And this, I think the Easy 8 was sort of my magnum opus in a set because of all that I put into it, much to the chagrin of everyone else involved. But simple printing, once again, and I did not include printed stars on the turret because it actually would have cost the same as the whole lineup I decided to give the tank, because there are customization options, but this is the main one. This is Skeeterhawk, 3rd Infantry Division, 64th Tank Battalion. And no, we were not going to print this Tiger. That was not going to happen. Just going to be honest. I'm sorry, I know people wanted that, but sometimes just no. But yeah, you got, also, there's both Cool Stud and Skeeterhawk have this printed hatch on the 76 turret because this was an updated turret that was better at piercing tanks with higher armor. The 75, contrary to popular belief, actually did pretty well in World War II, even going toe-to-toe with Panthers somewhat regularly. It was around Battle of the Bulge when the King Tigers started showing up, and as well as just the ammunition quality of the U.S. We're like, hey, Eisenhower was like, hey, we kind of need more of these. And the Easy 8 kind of saw it was introduced into Europe around fall 1944, and it was slowly getting. There more and more were showing up near war's end. Like you see a fair amount of these in like March, Germany, 1945. But between the 5 years that no World War II, after World War II, U.S. just kind of retired a lot of the tanks they had because they really just downsized the military. Like I saw footage like guys preparing for Korea. They literally were taking Corsairs out of shipping crates.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they did with the Easy 8s because you kind of had to take whatever you got. Because one of the reasons I love Korea so much, it's just this weird amalgamation where you see like a bunch of old rustic World War II tech, both U.S. and Soviet, and then you literally have jets flying overhead on the regular. So that's always kind of fun to. it's always an interesting clash, and it's just such an undiscussed topic. And well, that's what I kind of hope to help increase when I suggested Korea Month last year. And also, by the way, the tanker may be me. I just haven't shaved in a while. Yeah, let me have that one. But as I said, option. But as a robot in Apocalypse once said, you hear that? We have options. So I went all out for this the extras on this kit. So I'm just going to go over the Korean War customization options first, because that was the priority. So we have Skeeter Hawk, of course. We also have Juno. This is more of a plain one, but it's
good movie.
Shut up. I actually discovered Juno the same time I discovered Cool Stud, so it's kind of funny to bring both of them into the limelight a little bit. And also, we have a Canadian one, because the Canadians were there, believe it or not. Yeah, the British didn't actually use any Shermans in Korea. They were kind of focusing on their own
Centurion lineup.
That was Centurion, homegrown design. Centurion definitely, but they also had Churchills and even Cromwells there.
Churchill made it to Korea, huh?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is a prototype. This sticker you get will be red and black. I have an old one that's red and green, so I apologize for that. So that's all the stuff for all the Korean customizations, but I also include some World War II stuff. No, the builds you're about to see do not correlate with the stickers. You get the stickers, you do not get all the custom details. You have to do that yourself. So you have Gideon, just a basic gray Sherman. This is a preserved one in America somewhere. I don't know where. You also have a tank that is called Alley-Oop 2, because it's a tank that is called Alley-Oop. I wanted to include that. You do not get the camo. You have to make that yourself. But I will slowly pan that for you all to get ideas. Yeah, Pacifica Bricks Online. He actually kind of did his own take, because he got the Easy 8 and he kind of made his own version of Cool Stud a couple days ago. I thought that was really neat. Wanted to give him a shout out to that. We also have, this one was actually surprisingly popular. It's you do not get side skirts. Don't ask. It is a tank belonging to the 4th Armored Division during Battle of the Bulge. It has because like the white stars kind of drew up a lot of attention, so they actually painted some black stars on the turret, and it's a really nice contrast that I really wanted people to know about.
Yeah, it's cool looking.
Yeah, it's different. It's really different. I like that.
And it makes a ton of sense, because a white star right on your turret is kind of like a bullseye.
Yeah, basically. Even in winter, when everything was white, it's still a white star. You can tell, hey, Hans, I see a thing. Okay. And then last but not least, one final ego boost. Easy Nate. This does not exist. This is a tank that Master Chief used on Installation 00 during the final days of the Human Covenant War. But yeah.
Well, if you're making the Easy 8, I think it makes sense to have a tank in there called Easy Nate.
I mean, yeah, that's actually good news. There's also Flatfoot Flugie, real one. Speakeasy, Brennan made that one up. And
wow.
Yeah. One moment, Dylan. Pardon me.
You're good.
How
about that for a lineup, huh?
Yep. No. And yeah, that is the 2022 Sherman lineup. I went a little too far with this, but I don't care.
Nope, I think you were totally within your right to be able to showcase this lineup and all the effort that you put into it. I mean, when you have passion projects like this, I mean, this is exactly what you want to see.
You gotta go all the way with some of this.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's the Sherman lineup.
There you
That's all I gotta say. I'm happy I did this.
That'll do it for the designers episode, or the designer studio episode for the Sherman lineup, the new era of Shermans here at Brickmania. So thank you very much, Nate, for joining us and doing that, and thank you very much for watching.